Vince Berry, hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT, handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by TagMeADate. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here, no safe space. Now listen in, time to hear from some of the greats.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the War Report podcast, brought to you by TagMeADate.com. You got Steve and Eric on the show, and Ryan will be with us shortly, possibly Kat, possibly Vince. So we should eventually have a full crowd. But welcome, everyone, to the War Report. Why not start with a little Sami Zayn, especially after SmackDown? Eric, how you doing?
Good. Oh, man. Sammy, I really feel like at some point we should go back to, especially with him being a gigantic babyface now, go back to his original music with the whole thing, with the crowd sing along and everything.
He probably will. I wouldn't be surprised. They've been changing a lot of people's music, so I definitely wouldn't be surprised, or if they did a different version of it or something. But they love the crowd interaction. That's why they did it with Rollins. So I can't see why they wouldn't want to do it with Sammy again. Real quick, before we really dive deep into the whole thing, some real shitty news broke a little earlier that Jerry Lawler was in the emergency room undergoing surgery after suffering a stroke. It's just fucking amazing, too, because we just saw him on TV. A few days ago, he looked great. He sounded great. It's just amazing. It's just a day can make a difference. So we're thinking about him and we're praying for him. Go ahead, Eric.
I mean, it reminds us also of he had like a heart attack on Raw, like live, and then like Michael Cole, the way he stepped in and everything, man.
If it wasn't for the medic that is always ringside for any emergency, if it wasn't for him, he would have been dead.
I mean, technically his heart did stop. That, Lawler even says that. So man, he's like Superman, man.
Well, hopefully he gets through this one and he'll be all right. But it also may be time, if he does get through this, that maybe he hangs up the boots. I mean,
right, because that's the thing. He does still wrestle, and he's well into his 70s now. So
yeah, he does indie shows all the time. So, maybe it's time to do appearances. You know what I mean? But you don't have to lace up the boots and get in the ring.
And I guess on the same note, we did suffer a loss in the wrestling world. I guess we should talk about that too, real quick.
Go ahead.
For the fans that are I don't know, it's tough to say, but I would say, a lot of people know him as the Genius, but Leapin' Lanny Poffo has passed away. A lot of people know the brother of Macho Man Randy Savage, and it's just he was a very memorable person, memorable character. We both have been fortunate enough to meet him, and he couldn't have been nicer, So I just wanted to shout that out.
I had a pretty cool experience with Lanny Poffo. Years ago, when I was heavily promoting TagMeADate, I had the honor of being able to attend WrestleMania when it was in Dallas. And I stayed in a house, beautiful house, with Lanny Poffo and Bill Apter and a couple other guys for a whole week. In fact, Zobes was there too.
Yep.
So, so really cool. And I got to spend a whole week in a house with the guy, and the stories, the nicest guy ever. let
He
me
let you
put
wear
on
the ring.
Savage's. Yeah, he let me put on Savage's Hall of Fame ring, which anyone that's ever had the opportunity to meet him, that was a thing. Like if you took a picture with him, he let you put the ring on. But very cool nonetheless, and just a really cool guy. So it was a shame. And so sudden, he's another one. Like he's always in decent shape, and he's always posting on social media, and so rest in peace. They still haven't really announced. I don't think I haven't heard the
Yeah,
cause of
not
death.
that I know of. But yeah, and I, later on that year, actually, I had met him at WrestleCade, and I asked him about if he remembered working with you with Tag Me a Date and everything, and at first he didn't, but then he said, "Oh yeah," when I told him your name, and he's like, "Yeah," and he was super nice, and he was wearing a Macho Man shirt, and like as a performer, like you remember him, okay, he was like a great job guy, but he had the poetry, he had the frisbees, as the genius, as a manager of Mr. Perfect, and then later the Beverly Brothers, and it was he's someone that as a character you'll remember.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey Tara. Yeah, no, it's what's great is that the poems and everything, that was all him. Like that
Yeah,
was the real deal. He was a very smart guy, like really, really, really brilliant.
and
A
then
little weird and out there, but
yeah, but
really
and then
smart
I
guy.
was going to say, especially the one that he, when he presented the, for the Hall of Fame for when Randy went in posthumously, and that poem just really hit home with everybody.
Yeah. He really was one of a kind. So rest in peace. Um it sucks having a podcast and starting off with some downing moments, but I want to shift gears for a minute, Eric. I got to tell you, I haven't watched NXT.
Hmm.
I can't tell you how long. Definitely once they did the whole 2.0 bullshit.
Yeah,
Um,
sounds about right.
I see clips and whatever on social media, but I've never actually sat down and watched. So I wound up watching NXT Vengeance, and I got to tell you, that was one hell of a show.
Yeah, it was.
Really, really good. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you
We're
for having me.
we're talking about NXT Vengeance. We're just starting. We brushed on Lonnie Poffo and Jerry Lawler. So we're kind of shifting gears into NXT Vengeance because I typically do not watch
Same.
NXT, and I decided to watch this show, and it was a one hell of a show. Every single match delivered. I was happy with the results. Um, a lot of them I didn't even know, but was very impressed. That triple threat tag team match was fantastic. I mean, every match really delivered. It was really, really well done. Um, and
Would you
Gigi Dolan,
say?
fucking
Would you
great.
say that the match of the night was the Dijak match
That's definitely one of them.
versus Wes
And
Lee? That was great.
and then did you see Dijak? His finger was completely broken. It was like
Yes. Oh
sideways.
yeah.
Awful.
Imagine getting that during the match and you don't even. I mean, I couldn't tell that he had a broken finger until he showed the picture. So how long it was broken and he wrestled that match. Um, but that was well done. That was a good match. I don't
I can.
necessarily love the finish, but it
Right.
wasn't
Yeah,
bad.
I thought about that. It wasn't, but yeah, I thought overall it was a good show. One of the better NXT pay-per-views that they've done in a while. Um, I miss the old takeover days, and before 2.0 and then everything. But look, it's not perfect, but it's got glimpses of greatness. The
And
whole thing with Toxic Attraction, even without Mandy, and I think Roxanne Perez is a great babyface champion, and
yeah, I think they're doing a lot of good things over there. They have some really great young talent, which is only great for the future of the main roster. Um, but yeah, I was pretty impressed. I got to tell you though, I love Gigi Dolan, and I forget the name, the partner.
JC Jane.
But they still got to brush up on their in ring. They don't
Yeah,
blow me away in the
there
ring.
was a couple of movements I felt was a little slow and not not fluid.
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, they're good. They're very talented. I love the gimmick. Um, I see big things for them later on, especially in the main roster. I was actually sitting there watching this entire show, thinking about which ones are going to debut the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania on the main roster. Because right now you got to figure Braun Breaker's on his way.
Yeah.
What a hell of a match that was. But he's going to have to lose and get called up. So
You
that's
know
just
what?
a matter of time.
Honestly, I think that's coming because after the match with Grayson Waller, they had Carmelo Hayes come out and kind of like tease something. So, and Carmelo is one of those guys that is really good, and he could potentially be called up as well. So he may be, who knows? He may be taking the championship.
Yeah, they have quite a few that have the potential of being called up, and that Raw after Mania is usually a big one of call-ups. So it'll be interesting to see which one of these guys get the pull.
And I did also want to mention that I believe, and we'll get into Raw and everything, but I believe Bailey's supposed to be on NXT interviewing
Toxic Attraction.
GG, Toxic Attraction. So maybe
we'll
get something.
That's going to be interesting. I mean, I think they're going to split Toxic Attraction at this point, unless they're going to get a new leader.
Right. And let's be honest, we all know that Gigi is going to be the one to break out.
Yes.
No
absolutely.
offense. No offense to the other one, but she's
There's clearly a Shawn Michaels and there's clearly a Jannetty.
I mean, look, even when Mandy was around, a lot of the focus was on Gigi.
I don't necessarily agree that one's the Jannetty.
I mean,
I think in terms of in-ring talent, I think they're both just pretty much the same at this point. I don't think one exceeds the other. I just think Gigi's got the look and the character
the overall package, I think.
It was more of an expression saying there's one that's clearly standing out above the other. Not necessarily the pure Jannetty, but the one that's standing out above the other.
And real quick though, here's the thing about Marty is that while yes, okay, he definitely didn't have the charisma Shawn Michaels had. He did have the in-ring talent, but ultimately at the end of the day, Marty was his own worst enemy, and that's really why he didn't, get to the heights that he could have.
Definitely the case.
Marty Jannetty could never get past his demons. That was the problem.
That's the thing.
And unfortunately, there's many to follow in those footsteps. Jeff Hardy being one of them. If we're gonna go there, so
and then it's also tough to watch because like for someone like Scott Hall who went through it a lot, he finally did get clean. Eddie Guerrero too. A lot of these guys. So it's it unfortunately the body stuff to the body takes its toll, and even if you do get clean, it could ultimately I mean Jake is lucky to be alive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The bill always comes due.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's not for DDP, so
So before we dive into Raw, I really think we should touch on SmackDown first, since that happened prior.
Yeah.
And obviously, the biggest takeaway of SmackDown was Sami Zayn attacking Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And then getting his ass whooped. But the challenge being made, Elimination Chamber, it is happening. The Tribal Chief versus Sami Zayn. And it's going to be some kind of screw job because they're in Montreal. So we're expecting a screw job. There's no way Sammy's walking out as champion and they're going to do this Cody Roman thing. And I think they're putting themselves in a corner again.
Yeah.
Where I think the crowd, as much as they want Cody in that main event, they want Sammy in that main event. And I don't know how people are going to react to it.
Well, I will say this before jumping around. I just did want to mention that while we did address that last week, that could be a problem, I think they're on a decent track at the very least with the way that the Heyman Cody thing went down last night. So
We'll
into
get
that
in.
later.
We'll get into that.
We'll get
We'll
into
get
that
into
later.
that.
I just wanted to mention that as like a little, glimmer of hope, at least.
We'll see.
I agree.
I think it was well done. I think I mean that pop for Sammy when he came flying through the crowd with that hoodie on was
And do we
just.
know the status of either Uso as far as like Canada?
Last
Neither.
I heard is that they're still both not allowed in Canada.
Yeah.
Well,
Jay
Roman
got a
still
one.
got Solo.
True, but Solo wouldn't fit the storyline. You need Jay.
Well, right, yeah.
Though they did get a one-time exception the one time they were in Canada for Jay, so they can seek it again.
Doesn't mean they're going to get granted, though. That's the problem.
Oh, no, not guaranteed at all.
So we'll have to see. It'll be interesting, but they'll figure out something to make it work storyline wise. Even if, I mean, listen, as far as I'm concerned, this fucking storyline deserves an Oscar.
Right?
It's been great.
It's been one of the best storylines in professional wrestling
You know
history.
what? Even if Sammy was never involved, it still would have been great. But that Sammy and the way that blew up has exceeded our expectations. It's been great.
I agree.
Sami Zayn was only supposed to be a part of the bloodline for a couple weeks.
He's an anomaly. This wasn't supposed to happen, but he got over. The acts got over, and it made the bloodline a lot more interesting.
It's because Sammy is so good. His facial expressions, his delivery, his Uzi. I mean, you name it, things that they didn't expect to go over, got over.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
And then it almost became a game week after week. Is can I make them break live on TV?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that was great. And you honestly, if you really go back, you could kind of see glimpses of this when he was with Cesaro and Shinsuke with that whole thing, and his looking like a Fidel Castro kind of thing. But there was glimpses of that, but this has really brought it out, and he's so, like you said, he's so good.
I don't know that anyone else would have been able to pull off what Sammy did. And I don't even think Sammy really had the intention. It just started to click and it just worked. And it was just great television. And it's sad that it's over. But, listen, all good things had to come to an end. And eventually the hit was going to be out on Sammy. And here we are. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see how the WWE Universe reacts to it all, and then what happens come WrestleMania time. But I have very high hopes for this WrestleMania because it's shaping up. We're on that road, and I'm getting very excited. And I want to shift gears now to Monday Night Raw, and then we can jump back around to anything. But I want to go. We have a lot to talk about with Raw. Raw had a lot of great layers in it, but and remind me later, there's something I want to address from last week. Just somebody say that and remind me, okay?
Will do.
Something I have to address to Vince. So Monday Night Raw. I want to go directly to Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman.
Oh.
I just want to say this.
Talk about Oscar worthy.
Let me tell you. We always say in the wrestling world, the best promos are the real ones.
Yep.
And this was a shoot. This was real shit, which is what made it such an amazing promo. It started with Cody looking as good as Cody does, cutting a promo about Roman Reigns. And then Heyman comes out. And I remember sitting there saying, this is going to get interesting because anytime Heyman has a microphone and nobody else is around, it gets very interesting. And I watch Heyman get to the ring, and he looks at Cody, and he's on script. Like, you could tell at this point he's on script. He's doing what he has to do to be Roman Reigns' guy. And then, but very complimentary to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. The amount of respect that was given to Dusty Rhodes in this entire promo was incredible and well deserved, because Dusty Rhodes was one of the greatest minds of all time when it comes to pro wrestling. And the story that Cody tells that relates to the greatest promo Dusty ever cut about being a plumber and hard times and all that, it really was a reality. And to find out that they were dead broke, and then Heyman reached out and did what he did and got Paul Heyman to cry in the middle of the ring. And you know it's real shoot, because without a microphone, if you're reading Paul Heyman's lips, he says, "You son of a bitch." And then he grabs the mic and he gets real and he gets personal. And then he starts to tell a story. And then it's amazing how Heyman can take it from shoot and then right back into story and right back into script. And he blended the two as only Paul Heyman can do, to the point where I got the goosebumps from both sides. And then the line of all lines: "Your father told me you were his favorite son, but Roman was the one that he always wanted." Amazing, amazing. Might be one of the greatest promos of all time. Go ahead.
Was that a shot at Dustin too, or just because it makes good TV? You know, I don't know.
I think it was just for to build up Cody, just to knock him right back down.
Because it was amazing, and there's very few people that can do that, but Paul Heyman is a genius at that. Where he can, I think he did something at like the day after WrestleMania 30, right? And he said something nice, and then he went right back into Undertaker's streak, and then he got, he can do that. He can hold you with the ECW stuff and get emotional and then bring it all back. Both parties though in this promo were amazing.
I think it's along the lines, the bigger the babyface, the bigger the heel turn. So he built up the compliment just to smack it away with an insult.
I mean, this is right up there with those ones that really pull you in, like the infamous Mark Henry one, with the salmon jacket. Yeah. That was like,
that retirement speech was retirement.
It's just, I don't think anyone could have done better in that scenario than Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes, because there's so much true history there.
Yeah, and see, family. Steve, that's why I brought that up earlier, this promo, because the passion gives me a little glimmer of hope that the fans might not be as hostile towards Cody as we expected,
But I think that's what they're really trying to do.
I'm glad that they started.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be very difficult to do.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
Because I feel like the way they're going to do it is a Montreal screw job.
Yeah,
and that's going to carry to WrestleMania, which at that point, my opinion is, you make it a triple threat and do Cody versus Sammy versus Roman.
Now, okay, let's say they do that. Are fans going to be upset if Cody still wins that match?
I don't.
What if?
I don't know. I guess it would all depend on the finish, right?
What if you do a triple threat akin to Jericho, Angle, and Benoit, where you have both belts on the line? 2 falls.
potentially lose one belt to one guy and one belt to the other guy.
Yep. And then you completely let the bloodline go away for a little bit, for them to come back and try and rebuild.
And I've also heard, possibly two separate matches, one versus Sammy, one versus Cody, night 1, night 2.
I've
Or
heard that also.
and I'll just throw this out there. I thought, what if leading up to this, match at the Chamber, that Sammy does, like they say it's for only just the Universal title, and Sammy ends up winning. But the problem is then, who does Sammy face at WrestleMania? Because Roman's going to have Cody, and you gave Sammy his moment, but he needs a WrestleMania moment too. So who do you go against Sammy if they did that? So that's why I think that wouldn't work.
What about Jay?
And it also depends on what Jey Uso ends up doing in this whole thing.
I mean, that would be a great.
It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen.
We're all expecting the ultimate setup with Jey Uso still being with the bloodline, but it almost would be more interesting if Jey stayed away from the bloodline.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what, though? He has a special connection with his brother, and I think that's where the issue is going to be, because they're twins,
SmackDown
There's a
will be
bond that
interesting.
twins have that nobody can ever break. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. Because remember, as of SmackDown, he wasn't reachable by any of them, including his brother and Solo. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
And this week they have a title defense.
Yes. Which I got to tell you, that surprised me.
Yeah, me too.
I really thought it was going to be Imperium. I was very surprised that they did it to Ricochet and Strowman. And I don't know that I think I would have been happier with Imperium, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And so what happens now is the Usos going to lose? It's going to be is he even going to show up?
Right. Yeah. Because I question the cohesiveness of them as a team with all this recent stuff.
Maybe
Solo Sikoa,
or Jay doesn't show up and they get stripped of the titles.
Yeah, or Solo gets to replace him, for the title defense.
Well, they've done that before.
Yeah, but that's why the thing with Jey Uso makes it so interesting, because we don't know what's happening, and I love that we don't know.
Yeah, well, and so that actually is a good segue. I'm gonna bring this up right now. Last week I couldn't be on the show, and I listened back, and Vince was talking about Bray Wyatt.
Oh, I knew this was gonna come up.
And I'm just gonna say this: you can't say that yet and give up hope, because now that this whole Mountain Dew shit is over and the LA Knight thing is over, we have to see where it goes. Now, This past week, we didn't get much other than Uncle Howdy and Bray being together in the same room, and it was a quick little thing. But I think it's going to start to advance now. So we have to just continue to give it a shot. Yes, it's been very slow. We've only had Bray wrestle once since, but I think that's going to start to change. We just have to give it a little more time, but I think now they're going to have something huge for him at WrestleMania. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck it's going to be.
And,
but
not to mention the fact that they still keep teasing the whole thing with Alexa Bliss as well.
Right. And notice we haven't seen Bliss now in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So that tells me something's happening. And since I wasn't on last week, loving the new Asuka.
Yes.
Love it. I absolutely love it.
I made a comment, and Steve, remember a few weeks ago, I was saying, I kind of like Asuka's pretty face, but at the same time, you know what? It was more or less like she needs to go either nothing or all. And she went all in, and I couldn't have been more scared and turned on at the same time.
Aroused.
Aroused.
It really is great. And
when she took off the mask and at the Rumble, holy shit.
Yeah, it was a nice surprise. Not many surprises.
And you
so that
saw
was
the
one
faces of the some of the women in the ring were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, some of them were scared shitless, but but it's cool, and I like how like now a promo like she just smiles and like giggles and that blue shit comes out of her mouth, or so we'll see. But very cool. Nia Jax. Everything I'm hearing, that was a one-off.
Yeah.
The fuck is the point at this point? I was thinking maybe you put her in the bloodline.
Yeah, and especially because I think they like released a specific T-shirt for her for a brief time. So that's a little weird.
Wow. They can still make money and not sign her.
But there's, look, we still don't know the status of Naomi.
Well, now recently she changed her entire handle to Trinity Fatu. Okay. No affiliation with WWE at all anymore. So that's usually not a good sign.
Yeah.
And Mandy Rose is already teasing AEW. So that's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Shame.
Well, not for her. She'll be able to keep her.
Not for her.
She'll be able to keep her OnlyFans and go there. Oh, Kat is joining the show. Welcome, Kat.
I know, right? It's a miracle.
How are you?
I'm alive, if that counts for anything.
It does something. A little.
I'm breathing.
Well, welcome to the show. So I guess this would be a good time. We should talk about the latest rumor of potential Hall of Fame inductees for 2023, headlined by the Animal Batista.
Yeah.
And Umaga, the Great Muda, which is awesome.
That's a good one. Michelle
McCool, Cyndi Lauper, and the Midnight Express. That's a pretty solid fucking class.
That's a good class, and it's about time for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder who's going to accept on behalf of Umaga. They should all come out.
The whole bloodline should be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole bloodline should be there.
And, if we're thinking Midnights, it's got to be Jim Cornette. And unfortunately, the late Bobby Eaton can't be there for it. And that's horrible. But Cyndi, obviously, they're probably going to bring out Wendy Richter to do it. Unless they bring out Hulk Hogan to do it.
Oh, that's true.
Very, very good point.
Who's going to induct Michelle McCool? Undertaker?
Could it be Undertaker? No, maybe Layla.
Maybe Layla, yeah.
Oh, that's true. Could be Layla. She
just
was
on a side note. On a side note, TMZ just reported that Jerry Lawler got out of surgery. Okay.
Oh, good.
That's
awesome. Good. We kicked off the show talking about Jerry. That's
awesome. I heard it. I just saw the TMZ alert just came in on my phone.
No, that's great. Thank you.
That's great to hear.
That is good to hear. I hope he's all right. Jerry Lawler, I've had the pleasure of meeting and working some shows numerous times, and he's always been just the nicest fucking guy in the world. And so yeah, I hope it works out for him. So yeah, this is a solid fucking class. So that's pretty exciting. It's amazing because now we're officially on the road because now all this stuff is coming out. Kat, we covered a lot. I'm sure you were listening. You have anything you want to throw in since you're joining?
Only thing, I know you guys brought it up, but I must have replayed it about 5 or 6 times today. I cannot get over how great that was between Cody and Paul Heyman.
Oh, that promo was so fucking good, Kat. That was I actually said that may be the greatest promo of all time.
100%.
That's 100%. How fucking good it was. And that's both parties, not even just Heyman, but the fact that Cody was able to get Heyman to cry.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
And go shoot from the hip was just fucking awesome.
The last time I saw him actually bawl like that was at One Night Stand. That's the only time I've ever seen Paul Heyman really cry like that.
Yeah, that was great. It was such a great promo. Such a great promo.
That was just like an amazing way to honor Dusty, but still keep it real and still be able, and just the fact that he brought it back to the pipe bomb at the end, it was just, it was unreal.
Yeah, to get that, you like praise Cody just enough where then he brings it back down at the end with that. Oh man, that a classic Paul Heyman.
Yeah, it's just so good. Just amazing. So how are we feeling about Elimination Chamber? Because that's coming up soon. We're starting to get all the slots filled.
Who won that fatal 4-way with the women to get that?
Carmella.
Carmella.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know why it wasn't Piper Nivens, quite honestly.
Yeah, and then she comes out like a face almost with the whole thing with Chelsea Green. I didn't understand that either.
So Chelsea Green, I'm so glad you mentioned Chelsea Green.
She's going with the Karen.
You mean
character.
Karen?
And it's fucking great. She's really doing a great job, but a lot of people are saying she's just being herself.
Oh man, yo, that's brutal.
But I love it. I love everything she's doing right now.
Oh yeah,
and I love how she finally makes her return. The first time she returns, she's in and out of the Rumble in 5 seconds, breaks the record. And then the following time we see her on TV, she gets her ass whooped.
Loving this Asuka, by the way, too, just mentioning.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
we were talking about how great Asuka
mentioned
is.
it, and I was saying how both scared and turned on at the same time I am.
Eric, I swear, you have way too much in common with Justin sometimes.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. That was great. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna say a little bit about the Rumble because I really didn't get to, but I enjoyed the Rumble. I did. I enjoyed the matches. I enjoyed the Rumbles themselves. There were no big surprises. Booker T was not a surprise. Edge was not a surprise. Nia Jax was a legit surprise, and nobody gave a shit.
McCool's spot was funny though.
Michelle McCool was cool.
I did enjoy that.
And in fact, she was on Busted Open talking about it. She literally didn't know until 9 days before. And she didn't have time to get gear put together. So she's like, I'm going to do this in my Uggs and I'm going to jump in from the crowd. She goes, nobody's ever done that before. So they went with it. And that's how that came to be.
Booker found out during the pre-show.
What?
Booker said on the Click that he found out during the pre-show.
Oh, about him?
Oh, yeah. He did not know he was in the Rumble until the pre-show. They moved him into the spot when Rey Mysterio got hurt. They said they needed something. So he literally got thrown in during the pre-show.
And it's so funny that people are shitting on his performance because he got eliminated so quickly. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Booker T did exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah,
He came in fired up. He hit a few spots, and he did a fucking spinneroonie. I'm good.
Especially only knowing 20 minutes before that he was going in.
Right.
Yeah.
And we got a spinneroonie. I'm good. Exactly. That's all I need from Booker T. Nobody's sitting there saying, oh, Booker T's in it, he's going to win. I will tell you this. I just am upset that we didn't get some really big surprise in either of them.
Yeah.
The men's finished the way I thought it would. I said if The Rock and Austin were not in it, Cody was winning. So Rhea Ripley impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
She was incredible. So I mean, I enjoyed them. I just wish there were more surprises. I enjoyed the Bray Wyatt match. I thought it was very cool looking. I thought that spot at the end with Uncle Howdy was fucking awesome. Except he missed completely. That was it. Would have looked much better if he actually looked like he hit him. But it was very cool. I liked the different, like the lights, the neon shit came on, and Bray's whole face changed, and then he put the mask on later.
That mask was cool too.
And I liked having the Firefly Funhouse, hanging out and watching. Like it was very cool, but now we need more. Now we need to get more of Bray every week, not that she's little vignettes, and see what happens.
I agree. This story needs to kick it into the next gear.
And something, I based on that match also, I just wanted to mention that, and we had a feeling that everything would be okay, but I just want to mention LA Knight is one of those guys that is so great and well-rounded that like you can completely move him on from this and completely forget about that he was even involved, and he'll be just fine.
LA Knight was fantastic.
He's got the charisma. He's got enough where he can just put this aside and still be him.
Yeah, he's
Definitely.
incredible. He's a great talent, and he's going to go very far for sure. So I'm very excited. So yeah, I don't know. There's still a lot of directions and a lot of questions with no answers, which is not a bad thing. It keeps us wanting to tune in and see what's going to happen next. So we got the Chamber in a week and a half, right?
Correct.
So Chamber's shaping up to be pretty cool. We'll see how that turns out.
What'd you guys think about Lita?
I thought that was cool. It was out of nowhere, but it was cool. I don't know if that's like setting up for Lita to do something at Mania.
I had this theory. I mentioned it during the our chat earlier that I had this idea. It's regarding actually Lita and Trish. Because correct me if I'm wrong, did Trish have some kind of interaction recently with Damage Control?
I believe so.
Like didn't
I think like months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It was. I didn't realize how long ago it was. Anyway, I think a video just popped up recently, so I guess that's why. But I thought about this. You know how they say likely it's going to be Damage Control dropping the belts to Ronda and Shayna at Mania.
Yeah.
I propose. What about this? What about a brief, reign of Trish and Lita as tag team champions, team bestie, and then having them drop the belts to Ronda and Shayna, and maybe even include Damage Control in it to make it like some kind of triple threat tag match.
This is actually, if you ask my opinion, this is setting up for a 6-woman tag at Extreme Rules. That's going to be Damage Control versus Becky, Lita, and Trish.
That would be cool too.
I agree.
When the fuck is that? After Mania?
No, at Extreme
so.
Rules. At the Elimination Chamber. I'm sorry.
Oh,
okay. I thought you were talking.
I haven't heard shit about Trish Stratus.
Trish is the rumor. Well, remember how I said last night in the chat? I'm like, guys, there's Lita's apparently backstage. Apparently, there was another backstage report last night that there was talk that next week Trish is supposed to help Lita and Becky.
Ooh.
To make it even. Because I think they're in Toronto next week, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm almost positive they're in Toronto.
Sure.
So it would be the perfect setup for Trish.
Yeah, that's why we brought up the whole Usos thing, not being allowed into Canada.
Right. Yeah, I'm 99% positive that Corey Graves said something about it being in Toronto next week during the show.
It's very possible. It makes sense because they want to be over there because that's where the pay-per-view is going to be.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. And but the pay-per-view's a week. It's a week from this Saturday, so that would make sense.
No, Brooklyn, New York, the Barclays Center.
Oh, well, that's
next
not
week.
far.
Is it Barclay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did we not know that? And we're the New Yorkers.
That's some shit.
But Steve, remember, you got to enjoy Raw 30, so.
I did. Raw 30 was fucking cool. That was a good show. That was a good
he
time.
didn't care about Raw 30. He cared about Geno's. Who you kidding?
What happened
Gino-
to that?
Geno's was a great fucking way to start the trip. I'll tell you that.
So we got to do that Mania 40 weekend.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
definitely. I'm already starting plans for that. I'm excited.
Ryan's researching B&Bs. It's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Get
What else?
everybody in one spot. And
What
just,
else is going on in the wrestling?
I'm leaving my
world?
kids home. I'm just saying this now.
I don't blame you.
Leaving my kids off.
I feel like, what about Bob? I need a vacation from my problem.
It's like Vince said. You've got free range kids.
Free range kids. No shit. No shit.
So, anything else we want to cover? We're getting close to the top.
We could talk about some AEW stuff. I don't remember what.
We can cover every W. I don't know what happened, but we can cover it.
Wasn't there something like, didn't Wardlow come back or something? And
Yep.
so like the
At
thing
the
with
end
him and
of,
Joe is going to continue. Joe regained his title from Darby.
Yep. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn's kids are going at it for the tag team titles tomorrow night after last week.
I really hope the Acclaim keep it.
You guys think
Same.
Billy Gunn's going to screw the Acclaim?
Oh, I hope
Oh, I
not.
most certainly do.
It's definitely in the cards. Don't want it to be in the cards,
I
but
don't
it's
see
there.
why they would do it, honestly, because of, like, yeah, okay, it would be a good heel turn, but at the same time, it's so, the
Not
whole thing is
necessary.
so over.
Right.
Yeah.
I would let this ride out as long as you possibly fucking can.
Till it gets stale, basically.
They are the most over tag team in professional wrestling right now.
And Billy Gunn, legit, is a big part of that.
Oh, for sure.
He's more over now than he was since like DX, really.
That's
I agree
that's a fair comparison at this point, to be honest.
Well, look, let's basically call it as it is. Scissor Me Daddy Ass is like the new Suck It.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And this is coming from a guy who didn't initially like the Acclaimed.
Look at you. You're growing.
He's growing.
Hey,
Now
look, it happened with the Miz,
we just got to work on the Pat McAfee thing, and then Hill's frozen over.
Pat McAfee is back. I am
growing
so
on me.
excited.
He's growing on me. All right.
Is he?
Oh my God!
Holy shit.
Here's what I mean. What I mean by that is that I respect his enthusiasm and his love for wrestling.
Okay, that's a
I
start.
still find his voice
That's
fucking
something.
annoying,
We'll take it.
but that's like, those are some compliments there.
Yeah, so you want to talk about somebody's voice who's annoying? Let me tell you something. So again, I have not watched NXT in a very long time. I finally watched NXT Vengeance. In that triple threat tag team match, there was that university fucking team.
Oh God,
and they had that blonde cheerleader who's just screaming all the time. Holy fucking Christ. All she does is scream. I want to punch her in the face. I want to rip her throat out.
Like, Kat,
she is so fucking useless.
Melina with the screaming.
She is so fucking worthless. I swear to God. And it sucks because the team is great. But oh my God, is she annoying? She's as annoying as Janice's voice in Friends.
That's bad.
It's like nails on a fucking chalkboard.
God.
Yeah, see, she reminds me of Jillian Hall. I agree.
Oh my God, Jillian Hall.
Or what was her name? Or what was her name? But oh my God, what the hell was her name with John? Melina. Ugh.
All she does is scream. And it's not even like how Daphne used to scream. That was okay.
Or Sherry scream.
Horsey and obnoxious.
And over the top, like way too over the top.
Oh my God. And it's like it doesn't stop. Oh, so annoying. I mean, if it wasn't like a special match, it would have been like the bathroom break just to not listen to her. Or you watch it muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, or watch it mute,
Because the team is actually really good.
Mm-hmm. But she's horrible. Yep.
Oh my God.
Chase himself, I couldn't care less about, but the other guy is pretty good. And the Creeds are like, they've grown on me too, because at first I thought they were a little just kind of generic, boring, And then Gallus, look, these guys, I've been a fan because I watched NXT UK initially when it first started. I've been with these guys for a while. They're legit, and I'm definitely okay with them winning the belts.
Yeah, they definitely weren't when I was, and again, I knew nothing about the teams, but as going in blind, they were not my pick.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. I was impressed with all the teams, quite honestly. I thought they were all great. I enjoyed the whole show. It really was a good show, and I'm not an NXT guy, but
you gotta love Dijak, man.
Well, I love how he's now Dijak.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like now he's back. I love the gimmick. I love the look. Now we just got to get his ass back to the main roster. You cannot tell me that his fucking partner is now a male model on fucking Raw, and Dijak is back in NXT. And that's not to knock NXT, because a lot of the top talent that go to NXT do a great job, and it's to elevate the talent there. I get it, but now Dijak's gonna have a little setback with that broken finger.
Yeah, and now what is it? What is that even team called, the male models crap or whatever? Now they're trying to go after Otis.
Yeah, I don't really understand what that's
I don't
about,
get that at all.
But they're almost starting to tease a face turn for Gable and Otis, and
I'd totally be okay with that, because I really do miss the old Otis.
Well, especially with Gable's gimmick now, and then Otis being the old Otis, it would be hilarious.
Imagine the whole crowd going, shoosh,
Right.
please. The fact that he adds the please on top of it makes it even funnier.
Everything about it is so funny.
And, and I also love, and I don't remember when they did this. I don't know if it was for Raw 30 or recently, but they did that whole Patrick Swayze, Chris Farley thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, the Chippendale scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I don't know. It's we'll see. There's a lot of things. It almost looks like, even with this US contendership to be in the chamber, you had Dawkins and
Montez Ford.
Right, you had them have single matches. I wonder if that's almost testing the waters, because there's been talk about that for a while. Which Montez Ford would be.
The height that man gets when he jumps off the top rope, holy shit.
It's insane. It's insane. Even the way he leaps over the turnbuckle to the outside is amazing.
Can we talk about the wiggle dance he did to the ring when he was going to throw Dominic in the ring last night? Because that was freaking hilarious.
That was so funny.
And then to get beat up by the Glamazon. Like, thank you, God.
Oh, speaking of which, I think we're getting that mixed tag at the chamber, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
They made it official.
So it's Dominic? No, not Dominic. It's
Finn Ray.
Finn
against
right.
Edge and Beth.
So that's how they wrap up the whole Rhea Beth thing. But I think Finn's going to take the pin.
I agree.
Yeah.
Rhea can't take it.
No, not going into Mania now against Charlotte. And Rhea is going to take down Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hands down.
Okay, and listen to this. I'm hearing different things, right? A lot of people are saying that regarding Bianca, she should be going up against Asuka, and I love that, and I would love that. Apparently, there's a big, I don't know, amount of people that want Liv versus her at Bianca at Mania. I'm like, no.
No, that's not a WrestleMania match.
It's Asuka. It's got to be Asuka, especially with the new bringing back the the old Kana character kind of thing, and there's no way.
Yeah, I like Liv, and I give her all the credit in the world. She works her ass off, and she's gotten really good. But I would much rather, I agree. I would much rather, if we're talking Mania, I would much rather see Bianca versus Asuka.
Now, is Liv in the chamber match itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in it.
It's Liv, Asuka, Carmella, Raquel, and Natalya.
And so, did they establish that this is going to be like the winner faces Bianca at Mania?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm Asuka all the way.
Yep,
If
and
it
that
was
was the point of,
Asuka, I'd go with Raquel.
I don't know if Raquel's ready.
Yeah, probably not, but I'd still go her over Liv right now.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed
was that?
either. Like I agree it should be Asuka, but I wouldn't be opposed to Natalya finally getting a WrestleMania women's title shot either.
But will she ever win the match, though?
No.
Well, we don't know. Like I said, I don't. Well, if it's Asuka, then obviously Asuka is probably going to take it from Bianca. But anyone else that's in that match, I wouldn't see defeating Bianca besides Asuka. I just think seeing Asuka, Natalya getting a woman's title shot would be at WrestleMania would be like it's about time.
Yeah.
I hear you, but to me, on paper, Asuka Bianca sounds so much better.
Absolutely, I'm not just. I said if I had
Especially
to
the
pick, if I had
Asuka
to
now.
pick choice from that
Yeah.
that group, it would be Natalya.
Yeah,
I
you
hear
know what? I think Natty is more of a women's main event SummerSlam kind of person
Yeah,
than a
I agree.
WrestleMania.
See, I'm with you.
But Natalya, for being how good she is, has never main evented a women's championship match ever.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If any woman in that locker room that gets kind of not picked or not put out there that should deserve it, it should be Natalya. If you can give it to the Bellas, you can give it to Natalya.
Yeah. Very true.
And on that note, we are at the top of the hour. Vince was not on tonight because it's Mama Berry's birthday. So happy birthday, Mama Berry, from everyone here at the show. She's the best. So hope you guys are having a great time. I believe they're out to dinner. And on that note, we're at the top of the hour. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure you check us out next week and every Tuesday, 6 p.m. live. And of course, you can always catch the replay. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. Everywhere. Just search for it. You'll find it. Tell your friends. We're on the road to WrestleMania, so this is where it gets exciting. So if you love wrestling, we're the place to come and check us out. And until next time, on behalf of everyone here at the show, thank you again for tuning in. And we will see you next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. live, when we come back with another edition of the War Report podcast.